Hello, fabulous entrepreneurs. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 227, which means you can find all the relevant links and show notes over at tashcorbin.com/227. In today's episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast, I'm going to be answering one of your questions. I have a fabulous question from Ali, who asks how to be more consistent on social media, the easy and lazy way. So let's dive on in. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. So this question was submitted by the fabulous Ali Bengough. Ali is the face behind Ali Jane, and you can find her at facebook.com/Ali Jane Coach. We'll make sure that we link to Ali's Facebook page over with the show notes of today's episode. Ali's question is, hi Tash, do you have any tips on how to create a social media ecosystem the easy and lazy way, such as with batching? I find the consistency difficult to maintain, particularly when I need substantial time to retreat and recover my energy when dealing with heavy emotional client work. Thanks so much. Well, thank you, Ali, for this question, because it's something that I get quite regularly. And if you haven't already checked out my previous Q&A episode where I answered a question about social media for introverts, I think that would be a great one to check out as well. But Ali, I have 6 specific tips for you on how you can manage your social media in a way that feels easy and lazy and allows you to really enjoy your social media as well. So number 1 is chase your joy. So if you absolutely adore being in Facebook groups and engaging with people, then make that the core part of your strategy. If you love doing little snippet videos, then do that. If you love having deep and intense one-to-one conversations with people, you can do that on social media. So what we want to do is actually create a social media strategy that plays to your strengths and really lights you up. Social media is social. And so if you are someone who loves talking one-to-one, there are ways you can do that on social media. If you love talking one-to-many, then there are ways you can do that on social media. If you prefer written, you can do that. If you prefer visual and making pretty pictures and infographics, you can do that. If you prefer being on video or just doing audio, you can do that. So find the social media strategy that brings you the most joy, and not just from the perspective of how much will this make my business? Because if you don't enjoy your social media strategy, we're going to pick up on that energy. If you're just dialing it in, thinking, oh, this is so much hard work, I don't want to be here, we pick up on that in your language, in your tone, and also in the energy behind your posts as well. So number 1, chase your joy. Number 2, focus on high conversion strategies on social media. High conversion strategies require you to be in front of less people because you don't need to reach as many in order to get the conversions that you need for business sustainability and success. So a high conversion strategy would be showing up in a couple of small groups where you can step up, be a leader, and be known for your thing in that particular audience and get lots of referrals from that space. That way there's a high level of people knowing, liking, and trusting you. There's a much higher conversion rate because people are feeling very connected to you. Things like inviting people to send you a private message and taking the conversation one-to-one quickly and working with a few people and talking with a few people, but doing it all one-to-one is much higher conversion than just broadcasting onto social media over and over again. So by bringing together point 1, find your joy, and point 2, find a way to make it high conversion, and therefore you don't have to reach as many people, you'll be able to make it as easy as possible. Number 3 is, and you already picked this one, batching and scheduling. So there are a bunch of people who can help you with batching your content and scheduling it up, and you don't even need to do the scheduling part yourself. But if you're doing it yourself for now, set aside a small portion of time once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month where you schedule up one post onto your Facebook page each day for the next 30 days. Something nice and simple that helps you to make it as easy as possible. Not all of your content has to be written exactly on that day and published organically on that day. You can batch and schedule up some content. I find this is really helpful for people who do intense work such as yourself, because sometimes it's 3 or 4 days in a row where you just cannot be on social media. You really need to retreat, but you can do that without guilt or worry if you've scheduled things up and you know that at least your minimum posts are going onto social media. So your minimum posts are going up, you don't have to panic too much, and everything's taken care of. Sure, it would be better if you could show up and be present with your audience more consistently, but if there are times when you need to retreat, you can do so with confidence and without feeling like, oh, I'm sabotaging my business by taking time off. That's the last thing we want you to feel when you are looking after yourself. Number 4 is be consistent but boundaried. And I think this is where a lot of people get drained by social media. They are on social media 18 times a day, scrolling randomly, replying to that one message from someone, looking through their notifications, and you don't have boundaries or structure around the way you are on social media. I separate my business time on social media from my playtime on social media. In my business time on social media, it's usually about 25 minutes a day. I have a set list of things that I do, and I don't divert from that plan. So I will just check any messages and respond. I will reply to any notifications or comments I need to reply to, and then I will jump into my own Facebook page and see what's going on and see if I need to do anything organically. I'll jump into my own Facebook group and do something. And then if there's time in my 25 minutes, which there usually is, I can also jump into a couple of other Facebook groups and share some posts in there as well. Cheer a few people on and do some commenting. If I've done that 25 minutes, and I try and do it as early in the day as possible, if I've done that 25 minutes, the rest of my time on social media is joy time, and I don't need to be on there if I don't want to be on there. So I'm consistent. I'm there for 25 minutes a day, usually 5 days a week. I'll usually have one day on the weekend that I skip and one day during the week that I skip. And I'm consistent, but I'm very boundaried with that time. If I choose to, whilst the kettle is boiling, also scroll through social media and see what everyone's up to and message a few friends, that's my playtime. That's personal time. And yeah, sure, some of the things I do in that playtime overlap with my business, but it's extra and it's not a minimum requirement. And if I don't do it, I don't have a problem with that because I have met my minimum requirements for the day on social media. So be consistent, but be boundaried about it. Number 5, outsource, and outsource as soon as you can, especially when you are batching up content and someone else can do the scheduling for you. My first ever Facebook scheduling hire was someone who I paid $8 US an hour through Upwork, and I hired her for 2 hours per month. 2 hours per month. It cost me $16 US per month to have my content scheduling onto my Facebook page outsourced to someone else. I made the content. I was still in that stage of creating little videos and making little boards in Canva and writing up all of my content. And all I did was just sent the person a spreadsheet. It had all of the information. It had the dates, what they had to post, where the link to the image was or the video was if they needed it, and they actually did the scheduling part. Now, at first, it took me longer to set up that system than if I had just kept scheduling it myself. But I knew if I created a little system and I got it working at least efficiently enough that I could hand it over to someone else quite quickly and easily, that would pay dividends in saved time and energy over and over and over again. And so setting up the spreadsheet and filling in the content probably took me 2 or 3 hours the first time. And then it got quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. But the whole time, my $16 US per month stayed stagnant. So I was putting less and less time into my social media, putting the same amount of money and getting much better results from that consistency. So make sure you outsource as quickly as you can. Get into the habit of creating systems and processes for yourself, because it's actually in that structure that you will find so much freedom. And then number 6 is choose what's easy for you. I can jump on video and talk as much as I like. It doesn't drain me. In fact, it really energizes me. So to me, that feels way easier than writing out 100 posts for 100 days. I would much prefer to show up on video more consistently than show up with written stuff and writing long form captions and all of those sorts of things. So I choose what's easy for me. 90% of what I do on social media is whatever was easiest for me at the time. It is allowed to be easy, and that's often a mindset issue more than a strategy issue. You think in order for your social media to work well, it has to be hard. You have to do it perfectly. You have to do it consistently 900 days in a row without ever taking a break. You have to have everything lined up. You have to have everything perfect, and that is just not true. It is allowed to be easy. 20% of what you are doing is getting you 80% of your results. You just need to know what that 20% is and make sure that's not the part that you skip when you feel like, oh, I'm just going to do the minimums today. If you're just doing the minimums, do the 20% that gets you 80% of your results. That's usually the high connection, high conversion strategies and being very present with your audience. So I hope you found that helpful, Ali, and everyone else listening as well. In the show notes of today's episode at tashcorbin.com/227, you'll be able to find out more about Ali's work and a link to her Facebook page. Number 2, I'm going to have a link to a couple of previous podcast episodes where I also talk about this topic if you'd like to go a little bit further. And then number 3, I'm also going to pop a link over to the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And if you're listening along to this episode today, I want you to come into the group, use #podcastAha. Let me know you've been listening to episode number 227, and I'd love to know which of those 6 things you are going to try in the next few weeks to make your social media strategy easier, lazier, more fun, more joyful, and more effective for your business because you're able to show up more consistently when you find the easy way. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart Centered Business Podcast. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.